Alright, so first of all, I'll start off by saying that for more stability, you could just get multiple concrete forming tubes and make as many of these into columns as you want with those. To skip all of the first couple of steps of this, but I only had one on hand and I love me some paper mache, so I thought, why not? Therefore, we begin with wrapping the plastic that I had actually from moving, because reduce, reuse, recycle, around my concrete forming tube, so I'm able to reuse this for its base shape. I made 4 of these with 2 to 3 layers of paper mache on each, leaving them to dry overnight. For my height though, I only needed 3, as I ended up cutting 1 in half and then basically just putting it on top of the other one, so I was only using the 3 to make 2, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Whoa.
Once the base shape was done, I cut a few pool noodles in half, or half-ish, which you'll see soon enough. I marked an approximation of where half would be and honestly just tried my best. Maybe it's just me trying to make myself feel better, but I actually think it looks more realistic with each tube not being cut perfectly down the middle exactly in the end. Trust the process, more or less. First try. Oh god. I bought all of these from the quote-unquote dollar store, even though dollar stores aren't really dollar store anymore. Anyways, I digress. So they were relatively cheap. Alright, round 2. That is better. Not the best. Kind of a little iffy in some parts, but better. Again, we're getting better. Last big one. Every time it's better and better. Onto the small ones. Why does everything have to have an accent? Ages 5 and up. If only you knew. Jeez, that's so bad. Not too bad. Now to take the dried down paper mache mix off the concrete forming tubes, I simply use an X-Acto knife to slice it down. And then because I had used the plastic wrap, it slid right off. I then used a clear tape, not that it matters at all what kind of tape it is, to tape it back into a complete tube. Make sure that you're doing this in a very well ventilated area because this stuff does not agree with sinuses at all. And also wear a mask. And then adding on each of the half of pool noodles. That was a weird sentence. I used contact cement. Apparently there's a theme going on here. To use this, you put some on the area you're sticking your object to, and then the object that you're using to stick, waiting about 15 minutes, but definitely follow through your package instructions, and sticking them to one another. Adhesives love adhesives.
The forbidden caramel.
I did want to let these dry overnight with as much stability as possible, so I used some yarn to tie certain areas together so it would dry in that specific area. And I went between using a smaller sided noodle that I had and the bigger one, so there was variation. I would also like to add, to definitely use a brush that you don't care about to apply this. Although I didn't care about this brush, I wish I had used one that I didn't specifically buy for this, because halfway through the process I ended up losing the head off of it, which was okay because it was easy enough to use, but this stuff is very sticky and it has some weight to it. I left this overnight and I cut the yarn off. And then strip these stickers off. And started with the spackle. You could use a silicone caulking for this step and it would probably be a little bit more flexible, but spackle is cheaper and it's what I had on hand. I use this to fill the gaps in between each noodle half. As well as using it to add texture, which I don't think that you could do with the silicone, but let me know, I guess. But I used it as texture afterwards. cut off the excess from the top and use spackle in any more areas that needed it. I also ended up cutting off the rest of the cylinder, which again made for half and half, so I was able to make a secondary one and not use the last cylinder that I had made. I hope that makes sense. As well as using some extra pool noodles to create more of a shape to work with. A circle at the bottom to wrap around. As for the top, I had used a long piece of foam to determine how much of it I would actually be using to create the desired look.
Perfect fit. So this one is kind of my inspiration behind what I'm doing with this foam. And because it's perfect this way, it doesn't need to be changed at all.
And then rolled it up and secured it with a combination of a hot glue for an immediate grab and then more of contact cement for an overall hold. I'll say this was a task, though. It took strength, endurance, and a lot of fucking patience. Also, an internet connection to keep myself occupied. For the bottom though, once that circle was holding together nicely, I hot glued 4 pieces of foam together and marked out where I was going to cut this shape out, which I will be using later. No foam goes unused, guys. I glued 6 more pieces together and use the original square to determine where this piece would be cut, adding about 2 inches on all sides, top, bottom, and side. Placing the biggest piece into the smaller foam piece that I'm working with, hot gluing it again for a more immediate hold, and then contact cement, which you just see me put on for a longer hold. And for the piece I had cut out of the square, I'm adding my adhesive onto it. And the top portion, and then placing it on. Getting my hair done apparently at some point. In here, finally adding a few coats of spray paint to finish it off. This one is a matte one called Old Aged Gray, which I thought would be very fitting. After that dried down, and what I would always recommend doing but rarely show on camera as I see it to be incredibly repetitive and unnecessary, is to add a coat or two of resin to make it more stable and be sure that all of the spackle stays on better. Otherwise it'll just keep breaking off, which happened to me honestly a couple of times, which is what led to me using the resin. It just keeps everything in and you're done.
Can someone tell me why I'm spray painting this and the spray paint randomly comes out pink? What?
Anyways guys, I hope you like this video. It did take quite a while, so be aware that this is a time-consuming task, but my god, does it ever look super cool. That's it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoy. Bye!